This edition of 900 Seconds is brought to you by franklinsports.com, and they make high school approved volleyball. I'm never any good at holding that stuff right. It's upside down. You know what I mean? She's Emily Ehman. The volleyball world continued without you, even though you got a rare mid-season break. But you got back in time to watch the wackiest weekend. Things are,
Yeah.
except for Nebraska, which has set a mark above everybody else and hasn't had any inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Everything else is just so confusing. And you and I both used the same expression that picking our top 16 media poll this week was like throwing spaghetti against the wall, especially after you got past like five all the way to 16.
I know. Well, even now with there's so many teams at the top with Texas, Pitt, Arizona State, Louisville, Stanford, A&M. Like I don't that kind of feels the same way to me. I know a few have more losses and all of that, but man, I mean, I think that number 4 seed right now is gonna be the most sought after thing over the next 2 weeks, and it's gonna be pretty crazy to see how that shakes out. I mean, Pitt was in pretty good position. That loss to Stanford didn't help. Now Stanford looks pretty good, but then they lose to SMU. Yeah, it was a crazy week. I don't feel like I personally had this much movement in my poll for a while. So yeah, it's wild the way it shook out. And yeah, I agree. A lot of those positions, I think especially 13 to 16, which we've been saying over the last few weeks, is truly like throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's like whoever wants it, it makes sense. You can make a case for it. Really don't read that deep into it.
Well, just when you thought there was going to be some clarity, because Stanford goes up 2-0 against Pittsburgh on
Yeah.
Friday and looking good. And then Pittsburgh, battles back and Stanford's got to win in five. But then SMU, which has lost to Pittsburgh twice, of course, that was 2 months ago, um, beats Stanford. And then I'm watching Miami, Louisville. I mean, this is
Yeah.
cataclysmic happening if Miami were to go ahead and sweep Louisville up 2-0. Flor Marie Heredia Cologne with 24 kills. 24 kills in the first two sets. She cooled off quite a bit after that because her arm was probably going to fall off. But I mean, and then Louisville does a reverse sweep, and you could feel that coming the whole way. I mean,
Yeah.
Louisville is like those vampires. You have to drive them a stake with garlic through their hearts to kill them, and I'm not even sure that that would work. You
No,
know,
it was a crazy weekend. And I think the ACC specifically has just so many teams. You have, Pitt, Louisville, Stanford. Obviously, SMU made a big case for themselves with a win over Stanford, but there are a lot of teams right there that are duking it out. And just in terms of the standings, it's pretty wild right now what we're seeing. I will say during that SMU match, well, one, it was really tough to see Logan Park so down. She got knocked in the face, and then Kennedy Rogers for SMU, bad ankle situation, literally on match point, which was just like the worst thing to see. That was tough, but I I love watching SMU. They are such a fun team. They play exactly how Sam Erger is, just in terms of personality. They hit the crap out of the ball. They're so fired up. They're so fun. They're a team that is, very good at volleyball, but they just feed off of momentum. So like if you give them any, they're gonna run with it.
but you know the thing about that match is not only does SMU put Stanford's top four seeding in jeopardy by winning the match.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what we're going to see with Stanford because the kid who came in and set was good, but she
Yeah.
wasn't Logan Parks, and Logan Parks just got just absolutely rocked. And at
Yeah.
Stanford of all places, where Haley Hodson sued them because of concussions, I know that they take it super super seriously. But you knew as soon as she got hit, she jumped so high on the block for a setter. That's how she got facialed. And
Yeah.
then Rogers, who was having such a great match, a career match for her, and she
Yeah.
sprains her ankle,
Wow.
and it looked just absolutely awful. And so you have two
I
teams
know.
now where you don't know in what direction they're going to go and how they're going to bounce back from that. That was big. And then Emily, Nebraska, we talked about them and we know where they are, but Kentucky has only two losses. And do you remember that one of them was a
Yeah.
reverse sweep to Nebraska back in August? That seems like a million years ago, but I mean, when I saw Nebraska then, and I thought, oh well, this is just one of those matches. What a fantastic season! What a bunch of
I
ballers!
mean, it's a classic Kentucky season. Maybe like, I mean, they had a good non-conference slate. Obviously, you lose to Nebraska, you lose to Pitt. I think, this team was underestimated until, the last few weeks, I think, when they just steadily started absolutely dominating. And I think that Texas win really solidified just how good Kentucky was. Kentucky's a team that I think over the last 4 or 5 years has struggled in on-conference just because of how hard Craig Skinner schedules, and then they go pretty much undefeated during conference play. Won the SEC again this year. And yeah, it definitely seems like they covering the SEC tournament this weekend, like they do feel like the favorite just in terms of the well-roundedness of that team. Because you have Texas and you have A&M. Texas is, I don't want to say bad, but they're pretty bad defensively. Their blocking is atrocious. A&M has really high highs, but then they just, I don't feel like have had a match where everything has clicked for like three straight sets in a way. You know, the win against Texas was obviously really big, but I just don't know if this A&M team has the defensive nature to take down Kentucky, especially on that right side block. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited
I
about
mean,
it.
the SEC, you could argue the top half of the SEC is better than anybody's top half right now, if you want to make that argument.
Yeah.
But then they got the tournament this week, and Emily's calling that for the SEC network in Savannah, Georgia, where you've never been before. A lovely
Oh, I
place, a
haven't. I'm
great, a
excited.
fun weekend destination where you won't be going for the
I'll get
tourism.
to do nothing, but I'm excited to be in warm weather.
Yep, and they should have some of that. But from having covered the SEC for close to 4 full decades of basketball and other sports, the revival of this volleyball tournament, I have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, it's going to create more interest, get more games in. It's some of the seasons are going to end quickly because it's got play-ins on top of play-ins. You start with Friday with 4 matches: Arkansas, Oklahoma, and boy, Arkansas, what a tough season, geez. And then
I know.
South Carolina, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and then Ole Miss, LSU, who then move on to play. And I think I have this right. The double Kentucky, the top 4 seeds, Kentucky, Texas, Texas A&M, and Tennessee all get double buys.
Correct.
And we know from basketball, and of course it's so hard to equate the two because it's different. Upsets, real big upsets, are really rare in volleyball at the higher level.
Yeah,
But there sometimes is a big advantage for having played that 1 match or 2 matches.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and so maybe there's a couple teams that looking at them certainly of that first day. Oklahoma would be the one team that I would think could maybe get through and cause some havoc later on in the bracket there. The other
I
side of it,
agree.
though, is you run the risk of losing. I don't know what happens if Kentucky gets bounced. Is Kentucky a lock for a top 4 seed? I don't know. So
That's the risk you run playing in a tournament. Honestly, I'm pumped. I think the tournament's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun to be in Savannah. I think the matchups are gonna be really fun. Like you said, it's similar to a basketball tournament in terms of seeding. Like those, early round matches. These are all teams that are not in contention for the NCAA tournament. They're just trying to have a good end of the year. Push as far as they can. I would say Oklahoma, obviously, they're seeded the highest in that group, but they very much look like a team that could upset people. I think right now, at least from what I've seen, I could easily see Oklahoma getting the win over Auburn. I don't know if they're going to match well with Kentucky, but we might get a Florida Tennessee matchup, which I think would be really exciting and never know what can happen there. I don't know. Conference tournaments are fun because it is really tough to play that many days in a row. But like you mentioned, sometimes you are on an advantage for having one game under your belt, whereas Kentucky, Tennessee, A&M, and Texas are all going to have an entire week off. So you just sometimes you get out of rhythm during that time.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's different about this too, though, because this is a major conference having this tournament, the teams that, like, for example, on Tuesday, we start the Patriot League and the MAAC tournaments. And then on Wednesday, we pick up with the Missouri Valley. And what's cool about those is that they're a one and done.
Yeah.
In those leagues, there could be teams like, for example, if Northern Iowa were to lose in the Missouri Valley Conference, they would get an at-large. But the
Yeah.
Patriots not getting an at-large. The
No.
MAC is not getting an at-large. And in the SEC, you've got Texas, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Florida. And Tennessee and Florida are going to get bids no matter what, no matter how they finish in this tournament. Then Missouri is got to play itself in probably. And then you
Which,
look at Auburn and Oklahoma, 60 and 62 in the RPI. They go nuts and win 3 matches. They might play themselves in.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so that's
100%.
that's to your point versus my point. On those.
Yeah. I think the only team right now that is in jeopardy of not making the NCAA tournament, at least for the SEC, is Missouri. They're at 49 in the RPI. They absolutely have to win that first game, and then it doesn't really matter what happens in their second. But if they don't win that first match, I think they're absolutely out because they're still in the bubble right now. They might not even be in anyway.
No, they're 1-5 against the top 25, just for starters.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, but the, I, I almost want to say anybody can beat anybody, but I know they can't, even though it feels like that. Does that make sense?
Never know. That's why we play the game.
Yes. Franklin volleyballs. Um, in the ACC this week, and in looking through all the other three conferences, I did not see any big marquee matchups. I saw important matchups.
Yeah, a lot of RPI matchups. No, nothing big, big.
Yes. In the ACC, I saw Louisville's got to go to Georgia Tech, which is a very
Mhm.
tough place to play, and Georgia Tech's playing a little bit better. North
And
Carolina,
Georgia Tech right now, before we keep going, Georgia Tech's at 40 in the RPI.
yeah.
So they are right in the bubble too.
Mhm.
They'd be in
and,
right now, but not a good place to be in.
and North Carolina goes to Florida State, which is just such a tough team, and they just can't get over the hump. But
UNC has a very tough week for being 41 in the RPI, Florida State and Miami.
mhm. and North Carolina is mystifying because they have two goofball losses, a preseason loss to South Carolina, and then another one to Kansas State. And then their other three losses are, really tough. I think what it
Louisville, Pitt,
hit Louisville.
Stanford.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if you watch Carolina play, super, super fun to watch and super resilient. Yeah, and then Sunday, North Carolina, Miami. And
Yeah, UNC is interesting because Kansas State is a pretty good RPI. It's one of their losses. Really, it's the South Carolina loss that's pulling UNC's RPI down because that was a objectively like really bad loss. But it's still surprising that UNC, for a team that at least 900 square feet, we have them in our top 16 in terms of the AVCA poll is also in the top 16, but RPI wise, they are way down there right now at 41.
if you have not seen Miami, and you've heard us talk about this all season, but you got to watch Flo Marie
Yeah.
alone. If you have not seen her, there was one play, Emily. I don't know how much of that match you got to see the other day, but
I watched most
she
of it.
went she went to her touch point, got discombobulated because of the play, and she's standing 2 feet out of bounds by the pin, flat footed, gets the set, goes up and rips one down the line with a spin to the back corner that was hit so hard. I think even um, Louisville had to they probably wanted to go. That was such a great play.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, just stuff that she does. She's such a big, strong, must-watch kind of player. But
She's
they're
awesome.
flawed. They're still wouldn't want to play them. But
They just need someone else. It's similar to Penn State right now. It's like you can't just rely on Kennedy Martin. Like someone else has to score points.
right. Um, Big 12. Did I miss anything here? There's Arizona BYU on Wednesday.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, a lot.
I think this is where things get interesting. The Big 12 is going to get like 8,000 teams in right now. You have the bubbles right now, though. Arizona at 39, which I think sneaky is a lot higher than people would have thought. Cincinnati at 48, absolutely on the bubble, and Utah at 52. So there's a lot of things happening there aside from the teams that are already getting in, which is, a ton of them.
And with the injuries that Utah has put up with and the coaching job that Beth Lanier has done, what a
Yeah.
great. I mean, better than you could have imagined.
And they've got a tough week. So
TCU's on a down escalator. Got to figure things out. It's a good club.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. I mean, they've what? I have it somewhere in here. They've lost their last, I think, lost their last 6 of 8 matches.
Purdue, Wisconsin, Wednesday,
Big one.
big match. In your opinion, with Charlie Furbringer coming back, regardless of where Wisconsin's ranked now, is Wisconsin a Final Four caliber team again?
With Furbringer back,
And she's playing
um,
extremely well.
I I would be surprised to see them in a Final Four.
Okay, round of eight.
Yes, I think they can get to a round of 8. I would be
It's all
pretty,
matchups at that point and who they play and where. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It honestly will depend on how Grace Egan plays. If she has a really good tournament, that'll bode really well. Grace Egan has never played in a tournament. She's never even played a full season. She's been in and out of injury. I think they need another point scorer that isn't just Mimi Collier. Verbringer helps that situation a lot. But again, I'd be surprised, not shocked to see Wisconsin in a Final Four, but I would say that makes a lot of sense for them to make an Elite Eight game.
Speaking of that and the connection we just talked about right before that about Miami, remember the Miami outside hitter transferred to Wisconsin, then
Mhm.
got hurt, and she was legit. And if she
Yeah,
had still
Grace
been on that
Lopez.
team, and she still stayed in Miami, imagine what could have been there to that point. Um,
Hmm.
Nebraska goes to Indiana. That little bandbox is going to be hopping.
It's been sold out for months. My dad's pissed. He can't even get tickets.
No way.
I think, oh, wait, actually,
We
that
know we
reminds
know
me.
people.
I was about to say that actually reminds me. I think I need to text someone.
In sports, just like life, it's not who you are, but who you know. And your dad knows Emily Ehman. Oh my gosh, we talked about the SEC. It's just so much fun. It's like I say it every year. It's like our version of March Madness, and now that it's one and done, and it's so much easier for writing those roundups now. No offense to all the teams that will be eliminated in the next week, but shoo, thank goodness, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday lately has been really, really tough trying to keep up, and now
Yeah, I
teams
bet.
are falling by the wayside. And by Sunday, we'll be down to I don't know. I would guess maybe 80, and that's good. Um,
And it's
so
almost Thanksgiving. How the heck did we already get here?
Thanksgiving.
It's crazy.
Oh, are we a week from Sunday from Selection Sunday?
We're like 2 weeks out, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, a week from this coming Sunday, and we haven't even discussed it much, but I know we mentioned it at some point. But we'll do our annual Sunday night, get everybody we can on Zoom, and um, this it's good to have you back. Although it was really fun to talk to Holly McPeak last week. I do have to tell
Yeah,
you that
that's great.
Holly was great, but she gave a good West Coast perspective
Oh
that was
yeah,
kind of valuable and different. And one player she talked about was Clemente
Clemente.
from Oregon, and she went off the next match. I was like, I like that.
She's been going off. She is so good. And honestly, I love listening to that because I think you said it in there, but like a, I'm on Central Time. A lot of people are on Eastern Time. Yes, obviously there's people on the West Coast, but I'm not staying up for a 10 Eastern start time. Like I'm gonna read the box score in the morning, and I haven't had any West Coast teams at all this year. So like naturally, I just haven't watched them as much. And I think a lot of people probably feel the same way and go,
It's hard. Well,
who's
Mike,
staying up till 1 a.m. to watch a lot of these games. So I actually loved Holly's perspective on those teams that UCLA and USC obviously doing really well, but Oregon, Washington have also had like sneaky good years, and Oregon doing a lot better right now, like potentially in position to make the tournament at 51 in the RPI. Clemente's been a beast. It's been fun.
Um, and we really didn't say enough about Nebraska because we don't have to. But oh my gosh, what a steamrolling! They're
No
like one
one's
of
no
those
one's gonna beat
bad
them.
machines from the Transformers that they can just destroy everything in their sight. I mean, they actually lost a set, and then and pity the fools who get them next, which was USC. That was just
Yeah.
demolition, hitting what 416 or maybe better. I don't know. It was just it's just.
I mean, they're so good. I just don't see them losing. I don't know in terms of matchups a team that would do particularly well against them. Maybe Kentucky. I, because they're good on both sides of the ball, but I don't know. I don't know.
If we can see a Kentucky Nebraska matchup, a Texas Nebraska matchup, a Wisconsin Nebraska matchup that
Like
far along. All those things. It's
Texas doesn't match up well with them. Like they don't extend rallies. Like Texas can't get block touches, and Nebraska's gonna get everything up, and Texas's block is to be honest, I don't know if Texas is even gonna make a Final Four. I just their defense needs to be so much better.
and you know what too though, but their libero Emma Halter
Oh,
having
she's
a
so good.
great
Ramsey Gary,
season.
so good.
Great season. Yeah, Halter's doing really well. But to your point, they don't block that well.
Their
And
offense is unstoppable. I mean, I think they lead the country in hit percentage, or at least second in hit percentage. I think first in kills per set. It's just they can't stop other teams that well.
to sound like a old Texas football coach, Emily, offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships, as we know. Um, she is Emily Ehman this week of the SEC Network, headed to Savannah. And I remind all of you that if you are not signed up for 900 square feet, the all volleyball email, you're missing out because I work really hard to make it really good and it's free. Go to 900squarefeet.com and sign up. Em, great to see you.
Yeah, good to be back.